All right, we're here. Whether you like it or not, you thought you could get rid of us? You're wrong, fuckers. All right. This is Masculine Geek number 177, Fireside Chats. This was originally going to be Drew's game tonight, but we have 3 players down for the count, so we really can't run a fun, effective game with 3 players. 3 key players not available. So we'll pick up back on the 29th as far as Drew's game is concerned. And we've also announced we're going to make our live stream D&D mini painting sessions once a month on Tuesdays. That's Rollo and Robert and myself. So that'd be cool. And do you want to show your Geek and Tell first? You got your...
Oh, no, by all means, you go on first.
All right, well, if you insist.
Yeah.
So this is my buddy Gabe got me as a belated birthday gift. These are essentially one of a kind as far as the printing is concerned, because he took a PDF and went to lulu.com, which is basically an online vanity press. Mm-hmm. And you can print off as many as you want. And as little as you want, you can print off one. Mm-hmm. So I think he did one for himself and one for me. So this is basically the basic set and the expert set Dungeons and Dragons in a PDF, recompiled, reorganized so it reads in a fashion that makes sense. And hardbound. This is a matte cover, which I kind of like. I know usually these are glossy cover, but the matte finish is nice. Mm-hmm. So this is neat. So now I have this. I've been going through this at night before I go to bed, just perusing this and reliving my childhood through this basic and expert set of Dungeons and Dragons. So yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's a kind of a cool gift.
Yeah, it's definitely a very cool gift. Mm-hmm. Jethro's game of choice before he started, I guess, deep delving into AD&D, if I remember correctly. He was a big proponent of that.
Correct.
I got in some things too. The 7-year-old got this for me for Father's Day.
Oh, a tankard. That's cool. A skull.
Yeah.
Check that out.
I have a shirt that has a similar skull and helmet on it with a winged griffin helm. And it says, "Death smiles at everyone, Grey Warden smile back." And so he's like, "Oh, it's a your shirt." So he got it for me.
That's cool.
And then
is that for Father's Day?
Yeah, that was for Father's Day.
Well, happy Father's Day, you magnificent bastard.
Thank you. And then these just arrived from Brazil. They are a incomplete set of Streets of Fire lobby cards.
Nice.
So I'm a big fan of that movie and a big fan of a very young and rather tasty looking Diane Lane.
That's right.
And but anyway, no, I the soundtrack to the movie's great. We had mentioned before the show that one of the songs was performed by the band The Fix, which I think is
Correct.
a absolutely great band from the 80s that is completely underrated and far too often goes under the radar for people. But also 2 of the songs there were written by Jim Steinman, who wrote both of Meatloaf's Bat Out of Hell 1 and Bat Out of Hell 2.
What band are we talking about?
Originally talking about The Fix. They did a song for the movie Streets of Fire from the late 80s, mid to late 80s.
Cy Kernan.
Cy Kernan.
Song, but I probably
Jamie,
know if I heard him.
Yeah. Jamie Westorm is a very underrated guitarist. Mm-hmm. Go check out their website. I think they're still touring. My brother and I used to go see them whenever they were in town.
Yeah,
so I've got a bunch of.
I know I've heard of them. I probably know.
You've heard what? You've heard Red Skies at Night or One Thing.
Red Skies at Night, Standard
Fall. One Thing Leads to Another. Saved by Zero.
Mm-hmm.
Reach the Beach is a favorite, especially the extended instrumental version on the B side.
I've reached the beach on vinyl still, so yeah.
Likewise, and I've got the Streets of Fire. I think song is from React, and I have that album as well.
Deeper
and Deeper. Yeah, like your mom. Drew, put on your headphones.
Oh shit!
God damn it! You're like a little retarded kid.
Your little blue gnome.
You little blue, yeah, you fucking bent over here. Just if we were going to be monetized now, we're not.
Yeah.
I tried that for a while. I tried some of the ads. Not that we get a lot of, we get a, for our channel, we get a fair amount of views, but I don't know. Ads to me are just, I don't mind the ads in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
In the end, it's when I'm, especially like you're like you put on a podcast, you're shaving, you're in the shower, and in the middle of the fucking thing is like like,
yeah,
what
buy
is
our
this? What am I
razors
fucking
or eat
listening
our socks
to?
or, yeah.
It's a goddamn ad in the middle of it. Fuck, there's a reason why I got rid of TV and threw my TV out. So listen to this shit.
I've got to just get a dedicated pair of headphones and leave them here by the desk. These are for the fucking PlayStation. So,
Nick, check your DMs. Yeah, I mean, if you have, I get it if that's your nice. I get it if you're going to use YouTube as a monetization thing for yourself, and you've got hundreds of thousands of viewers. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But still, the ads in the middle, that's a huge. It's just so it's obnoxious. It's just let's just say it's obnoxious.
I removed all my ads from all my YouTube stuff.
Good for you.
Here's
well, you
my
having
take.
Pop-Tart commercials while you're talking about health and fitness and weightlifting, and they're trying to, eat this candy bar or whatever.
Well,
it's like,
it's worse. Yeah, Pop-Tarts would actually be a step up.
mm-hmm.
The problem is about 99% of what people advertise as far as fitness is complete bullshit.
Oh, yeah.
It is either trendy bullshit. There's no basis in science, but there's two main types of bullshit. There's trendy bullshit. It's just something that's novel. And then there's traditional bullshit, which is, well, this is how the oldie, timey guys did it. And it was good enough for them. And these are the lost secrets of the 1900s strongman and all this. So you've got these people who are, and there's a name for the fallacy. What the fuck is it?
Stupid.
Well, it's an appeal to tradition, but there's a fancy name for it. This is how the old.
So you're saying you shouldn't flail ropes or go out and bench press cattle? That's what you're saying.
Stupid.
Or throw around kettlebells.
Yeah.
Kettlebell thing makes no fucking sense. There's a reason that some things they stopped doing it.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
That's this was created as a PDF. I forget the author who compiled it. So you really can't buy this. You have to find someone on Twitter who has the PDF, and they'll gift it to you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a PDF compilation of the Dungeons and Dragons basic rules and expert rules together. And there's the expert on the back.
Oh, nice. The old Mentor basic expert.
Correct. In fact, this is it says dedicated to 40 years of adventures and gamers, both past and present. This work is a fan-made production created under the fan content policy. No association with Wizards of the Coast, LLC, or TSR Incorporated suggested or implied. All content remains the property of its respective owners. And this is, you say.
I will have to talk with you about that later. I have the rules encyclopedia, which has basic expert, companion, masters, although I haven't read through the whole thing yet, so I don't know if it has the immortal stuff. But
oh yeah, the 30th level and above. Yeah, that never really appealed to me. I had the box set. I sold it. It was one of my eBay sales in the 90s, but I never really played it that much.
I still have mine.
AD&D.
Yeah,
quite frankly, I enjoy the basic and expert and the Beck Me if you want the BCMI. I'd rather just play AD&D. I don't know that this is. I don't know that this is the case, but from what I have read and heard from different people, it seems to me that the basic expert and all that was more as a kind of simplified version to appeal to younger gamers, and it just. after playing AD&D, it feels sparse.
Yeah.
Well, the second this, that's very much the case for this version. I mean, this basic and expert is basically a completely different game, whereas the other one was something you would have started. I mean, it's basically a re-edit of the old pamphlets that were originally published, and then they reformatted it and published it in that edition, which in theory you could start playing that edition and then go to Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. Whereas this,
that's the BECMI.
Yeah, this is the stuff that you start playing and then you just go up to the next box set. So
when you're a kid,
it's really its own separate thing.
When I was
you
a
go
kid,
from that to this,
and exactly. I had a way of thinking, like linearly, like, oh, you got the basic first, and then you graduated to advanced, because that's no, they're two separate. Really, I mean, two separate games. But this is cool to have this in hardcover format.
Yeah, I'd like to read it.
Well, especially with that matte printing, I like that. I think that works better with that older art.
I'll get it. See if I can get a hold of the PDF and pay it forward. Get you guys copies.
Awesome. That would be.
I want to get. There's a company. I forget the name of it. I'll have to look it up on Instagram. I sent the story over to TJ and Rollo. It's yeah, exactly. This guy does custom dice, and inside of these custom dice, these jewel dice are skulls. It's really little resin skulls. Cool. It's really cool. So I want to pick. I'm going to pick up a couple sets for you guys.
Awesome. Did I send you the info on the video from Louis Zacci on his dice and the Game Science dice?
I don't think so.
Oh shit! I've got to send that. I'll send it to you. It is. So hopefully I don't butcher this too bad. The guy started making dice, I think it was like 74, 75 or so. Nice. He's been at this forever. And he has a very different take on the dice. And he talks about his manufacturing process versus others' manufacturing processes. And his whole deal is a dice should be designed so that it is a truly random number generator. Mm-hmm. But the way that a lot of companies make their dice, they are not truly random.
They're not precision cut either.
He said part of the problem is the process that they use to get the paint or dye in the numbers. They cover the whole thing, but then they put it in a tumbler with a coarse medium so that the paint is removed from the outside, so it's just left in the indented spaces in the numbers. Problem is this wears the edges and faces unevenly. And then they put it through another finer medium. And the problems with this and something else with the process that they use to make the dice are that their dice are not symmetrical all the way around. They will have sides that are shorter than others. So if you have...
You're not getting a true roll.
No, imagine you're rolling a ball. If you roll a perfectly spherical object, then every time you roll it, the point that ends up facing up is going to be completely random. But if you have something that's oblong and egg-shaped, it's going to tend to land on its side so that its center of gravity is lower. So that was one problem. He actually had a bunch of dice from another company that he had stacked end to end on like the same numbers facing down, and then compared it with another, and there was a huge difference with the stack of dice. There's obviously a difference in the axis along one side. But also he's talking about how the casino dice have to be made in such a way so that they are perfectly random. And part of this is that they've got very sharp edges. Imagine you get a dice and you have a sharp edge and you have a rounded edge that's slightly rounded, and then you have another rounded edge that is even a larger degree. The more an edge is rounded, the closer the apex of the edge to the center of gravity of the object, so the easier it is to roll over that edge. The more you shave off the edge, the easier it is, the less energy is required for a die to keep rolling, and that affects what side it tends to go up on. If you've got the D6 and every single edge is just a little bit different than the others in terms of the roundness, one side is going to it's going to be more difficult to get over some edges than others, so certain sides are going to tend to show up more often. And the way I don't know if you can see this, but the way his are made, these are, I mean, actually, it feels even a little bit sharp along all of the edges, but he does not polish these in any kind of polishing medium. They just come right out of whatever it is. And you can see, where is it? You can actually see the clip mark, if I can find which side it's on. Just, well, I don't know if you can see it too well. It's just kind of down underneath the 6 there. Little rough. But you can see where it was clipped off where the sprue was, because he just clips that and just smooths it, and that's it, so that the edges don't get worn unevenly, so you end up with an actual random result. And I used to think people were just joking when they said that they had dice that were lucky or dice that were unlucky, because I had no idea. I never really put that much thought into dice, so I didn't consider this. But if you consider that these things affect it, there may be some dice. It's physics; it's not luck. But there are maybe some dice which are lucky or unlucky because they are not perfectly symmetrical and they do not have consistent edges, so they are more likely to land with certain faces up than others. So these people are not imagining it. Their dice may actually be lucky or unlucky in that they're just shaped in such a way that it's not truly random.
Well, I like the old dice that used to have like air bubbles and stuff like that in them. So those kind of flaws and defects that you couldn't naturally see, but you could always
character.
Yeah,
there are. I don't know if you can. Well, this is probably not focusing well. There's barely, if you look really close, you can see tiny little bubbles in there somewhere. But I also noticed, because these are not, they don't go through that polishing medium, that actually looks more like colored glass. It's a I don't know if I can get light going through here, but they really do, a little bit more sparkle with this, which isn't the most important thing. The most important thing is that it's truly random.
That they roll a 20-sider when you need a 20 when you need it.
Yeah. So I ended up getting a couple sets. I got the yellow set from him and a red set, and got another one coming, because I'd rather be able to roll a few more of a die at once than to have to roll the same die over and over and over for stuff.
Yeah.
But I noticed, and I don't know that this is, I don't know for certain, because it might just be chance, but I was rolling 5s consistently with a particular orange, or not orange, but one of the D6s one night in one of Jeffro's games, and it just seemed like it's just weird that it was, and again, maybe it's the dice, maybe not, but I've got a calipers here. One of these days, I might actually go and take a bunch of them just to see. But anyways, skull dice would be cool. But yeah, really excited to start trying these out.
Cool. Geeky, are there any D&D instances wherein the DM crafts a campaign event in such a way that rolling low is good? I wouldn't say an entire campaign event, maybe an instance, but maybe not base the entire adventure or campaign off of low rolls. It depends on the rule set too, because I know it was confusing TJ for a while, because we were playing 5th edition before we went to straight AD&D. With 5th edition, the ability score checks are, you want to get, it's higher. The higher you get is better. The higher roll is better. of a DC check. So you have a difficulty check of 15. You want to roll 15 or higher, and then you use your pluses or minuses based upon your ability modifiers. With AD&D, you roll lower. You want to roll under. So if you have an intelligence of, say, 17, give me an intelligence check. Okay, well, I need to roll a 17 or lower, and I'll make it. Now, the DM may say, all right, well, give me an intelligence check with a -5 modifier. So if your intelligence is 10, well, now it's 5, and you have to roll 5 or lower.
Mm-hmm.
Or he may give you a plus, depending upon the circumstance. So that's one little differentiation. So that's why I'm glad. Which I have a live action D&D game. I'm still playing 5e, so I have to make sure I get my headspace correct when I'm going back and forth between the games.
It's a little frustrating because when you have some rules where it's better to go low and some rules where it's better to go high, it can be difficult for some people to keep that straight. But it's like anything else. After you do it for a while with the system, you don't even think about it. And
well, also with attacking, a 20 is always a critical hit. Natural 20, not a modified 20, like you roll a 9 and you have a +1 or whatever. You roll a 20 on a 20-sider, that's a critical hit, and usually that means you get full damage. In some instances, DM may say, well, it's double damage, or full damage plus half. But if it's just straight up full damage, that means if you're hitting with a long sword, which is small to medium, which would be a 1d8, I believe. So that would be straight up 8 points plus your strength or magical modifiers. So if you had, let's say, 18 strength, that would give you a +3, and it was a +1 weapon, that would be a +4. So it would be a total of 12 points right there off of that 20-sided roll, which in AD&D is a good damage modifier.
Now, in this game, the Dark Eye, you want to roll low on your D20s. In fact, ones, even on their dice, has a little Dark Eye symbol on it.
Oh, that's cool.
So the whole plus, you also use instead of 1 D20, you usually roll 3. These are a set from a German convention, RatCon in 2018.
RatCon.
These dice were used in a contest at the convention, so pretty much everyone at the convention got a chance to roll these dice for certain prizes. And I was a guest at that convention, so they were nice enough to actually give me these dice, so a special little collectible. But in the game, your attributes, when you do something like, let's say you're climbing a statue in order to try and retrieve something up on one of the arms, not only would in D&D, let's say you'd probably just use a dex score, or you'd have
percentage roll.
For your climbing ability if you're a rogue. Well, anyone who can climb, and you use the 3 die, because not only are you using your agility or dexterity to climb something, you're using your strength to pull yourself up, and you might be using some intellect or wisdom scale in order to do it, because you're figuring out, okay, where are the handholds on the things I'm climbing? So you're which is very gritty and kind of real in the way that, when you actually climb something, you're using your mind, you're using your strength, you're using your endurance, so you're using multiple stats, both physical and mental, to do something. Well, they've incorporated that in the game. So, for example, when you fail at something or don't succeed very well, you know the principles for climbing something, and you're stretchy enough that you can reach to different things, but unfortunately you didn't follow Drew's advice in your weight training, and you're just not quite strong enough, so you failed your strength roll on that. So you're stuck halfway up on the statue because you're just your muscles have worn out. And so it adds a certain grittiness to the game, which makes it kind of interesting. And if you are someone who also plays D&D and has a 20 who's notorious for letting you down in a crunch situation, when you really need a high score, and it's always rolling 1s, 2s, or 3s, well, it's absolutely the die you would want to use in Dark Eye because you're always wanting to roll under your ability scores. So that's a game that's designed for wanting to roll low is always better, at least insofar as trying to do things. Obviously, for things like damage, higher is always better because you want to inflict the maximum amount of damage as often as possible. So
correct. Yep. Yeah.
So interesting question, Geeky.
If anyone else has any D&D geek questions, throw them in the chat. We'll answer them as best we can.
Yeah.
It's,
on rolling low, there is one other instance where it makes sense because it's simpler, and that is if you are rolling for a percentage using a D100 or two 10-sided die, one for the tens place, one for the ones place.
Likewise, in the rogues and thieves
Mhm.
abilities, it's always that percentage. Like if you have a 35% pick lock,
Mhm.
then it's 35 or lower.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's
No, you're
really
right.
easy. If you know the percent, and sometimes I'll actually do this as a DM because it's easier. If you are thinking of odds, okay, in this scenario, I'm going to say that there's a 40% chance that this happens. Instead of trying to figure, okay, well, I could take a D20, and the D20, if I roll 8 or under, I get 40%. But if I just take the percentile dice, I can just go there. So if I want to say there's this percent chance that this is going to happen,
Mhm.
and then it's just easy to do that with the D100s. But for a lot of things, people have this idea that more is better, bigger is better, higher numbers are better.
Only with money.
So, money, women, more is generally better.
Bacon
except
wants
not
to
the
know-
size of the women, just the number that you own.
Exactly, yes.
But
Bacon wants to know, can human characters conjure fire? Well, if you're a spellcaster, yes.
yeah, why not?
If you're a magic user or an illusionist, you could also
Or,
cast
or
fire
you've
with the
eaten
illusion of
Vince's
fire.
chili.
Or you had my chili, yes, that's true.
That'll have you conjuring
Nick
fire.
wants
from what I've heard.
Nick has to be the he needs to skirt the edge. He has to walk that razor's edge of just being the cool older guy with the
Mhm.
sunglasses and then still being somewhat interested in geek shit. So he's going to ask this question. He's going to say, how much plus armor would Leia's Jabba outfit have?
I'm going to say that would pretty much just be that if we're going with the AD&D, it's just going to be maybe 9, armor class 9. Just
there's no covering whatsoever. Yeah,
barely better than not wearing any armor at all.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I mean,
And-
I would even say you could call it just AC 10, no armor whatsoever. It's really cosmetic at that point.
Mhm.
But it's just
It's very distracting. You could say there's a distraction. You could have, if anyone's attacking her, they have a distraction modifier of maybe -2. Unless you're a female that's not gay, then it goes in the opposite direction.
Mhm.
The plus side is you do not have the bulk that you have with some armors, so
Correct.
movement would be less constrained.
Unless it was a magical sort of chainmailish bikini, because then you're going to get a magical, there's going to be an R around it that helps to deflect or deter attacks from actually landing.
There are rings and bracers of protection that have AC bonuses of up to about +5.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be a bikini of protection.
Well, according to Carrie Fisher, it was pretty magical for the stunt guys that were behind her operating Jabba and doing some other stuff, because I guess there was a gap in the bikini, so where she would sit sometimes between takes, if depending on how she would move,
you could see her
the
peach.
Gaps would open up, so a bit of a nip slip or something like that. So
nice.
I hear it was pretty magical for those guys. So
Hamill probably was just running. Hamill and Ford were just running around with hard-ons the entire time.
Well, Hamill was probably running around with the hard-on. Harrison Ford actually tapped that, according to Carrie Fisher. So there you go.
Would not surprise me. Hamill's especially his latest social media persona just screams beta
lesbian
male.
grandma.
Just beta, just like a weak yes man.
There is a scene, I think it's from Star Wars, and it was taken on set between scenes, and Harrison Ford sitting there like on a box or something, legs spread apart, just sitting there. Carrie Fisher is sitting on the floor looking up at him.
Right,
and you know how they talk about genuine desire. You know, yeah, she's like
she's just got stars around. She's got
like,
the wide eyes, and
she's like, I so want this guy, and then so anyway,
when Luke said the line, the whiniest line possibly ever in a movie about wanting to go into Tashi Station to pick up some power converters.
Yeah,
that was not Mark Hamill acting. That's Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
That's actually him being a whiny bitch.
I love the Star Wars movies, the original Star Wars movies, and grew up on them. Just absolutely idolized. And I mean, I was little. I was like, geez. So I was like 5 or 6 when the first one came out. So I'm seeing these movies when I'm 5 and was it 5 and then 8 and 11 or so?
Yeah,
absolutely love them. But so finding out that Mark Hamill is such a lefty douchebag is really disappointing. But I'm still a fan of his work. I love his work. I love his voice stuff. Thought he was great in the original Star Wars movies, but it's just really disappointing. Oh well.
I thought he was great in Corvette Summer with Annie Potts.
When he's trying to find his Corvette, yeah.
I've seen pieces of it. I've never sat down and watched the entire thing.
I did. Danny Bonaducci was in it. I had a buddy of mine.
That's right.
I had a buddy of mine who lived in Chicago. Well, several who lived in Chicago when Danny Bonaducci was there on air on WLUP, and so I was like their one guy who actually knew that worked in the radio industry. So they had a very bad habit of calling me that when we would get together for like special occasions, like weddings and stuff like that. They would always mark me down as being their VIP guest, Danny Bonaducci. It's like, I wish I was working on WLUP. Big market radio station in a much bigger market than Indiana. So, especially in Indianapolis. But
did he die?
Not as far as I know. Last I heard, he was still working. His career maybe has.
His career's probably dead.
I'm not sure what he's doing work-wise now, where he's at. I think last I heard he was working radio out west somewhere, if not in California again, in like Arizona or Nevada or something like that. But
he was on
those things I've never really looked into recently.
He was on some show a while back. I can't remember what it was. He was a regular, and they also had the blonde girl. I can't remember her name. She's the one that had Nancy Kerrigan kneecapped. The other skater. What the hell?
Oh, I know you're talking about. I can't think of her name, but I know you're talking about. Yeah.
I think they had the guy that was on Different Strokes, not the Gary Coleman, but the
Surreal Life or something like that. Is that what you're talking about, or Celebrity Rehab?
I don't think it was a Celebrity Rehab. There was a bunch of and they had one of the one of the Baldwin brothers,
Tanya Harding,
Tanya Harding, and they had the really fat Baldwin brother on there, and they were all commenting on video clips of people doing dumb shit, basically, and it was just making fun of people, and it was actually pretty funny. So that's the last thing that I can remember seeing him. And I don't know why I thought he was dead. I thought I read or heard something. I might be thinking of somebody else.
Patrice O'Neill was on a couple of those terrestrial radio shows. He's dead.
Yeah. And it sounds like Danny is doing radio out in Seattle at the moment.
Pump Handle, Iowa.
Yeah. Seattle, Washington since November 2011. KZOK FM.
I wouldn't want to be in Seattle, but good for him, still working.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's funny that he went from being an actor and to doing radio and broadcasting and stuff, because it's just a very different kind of thing. But he was doing like talk show format stuff. But I think when he was at WLUP, they were kind of talk and kind of music. So they had long segments of talking and stuff, and then they'd throw out some songs every once in a while. So I think WLUP now is all talk, but it's been a while since I've been up to Chicago because it's located behind the demilitarized zone of
it's a shithole
of Illinois. So I haven't been there in a while, and I wasn't listening to the radio when I was, which is odd because usually when I travel, I like listening to local radio because I still have a thing for it.
You remember Escape from New York?
Mm-hmm.
Very well.
That's what we should do with Chicago.
There you go.
And New York while we're at it. Just don't announce it. Just one day have.
And Washington, D.C. not for nothing.
Just wall the whole thing off and say, no, you stay in there. You are no longer allowed to have any effect on anything that goes on in the rest of the state or the country.
Right.
Well, what's funny is I had the last concert I went to in Illinois was it was a Wednesday night of one of our games, so it would have been later last year or something like that, and it was in downstate Illinois, almost to the border with Missouri, near St. Louis, and it was just funny. All the
funny.
I was just thinking about Nick the other day. Someone posted a clip of Dean Wormer from Animal House, and it was like, fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life. And it's like, hey, I know someone who's not necessarily all that fat, but he's made a very successful
drunk and
career
stupid?
being drunk and stupid, getting through life. And so it was our man Nick. But no, it was just very different how downstate Illinois is so different from Chicago. But
you dickhead.
he's special.
He's in a bit of a diaper way.
Yeah. Fresh in off the short bust.
That's right. Nick short bus August.
Well, you and Drew must really be letting him down if he invited me on here, because I only get invited when everybody's tanking. So
no, I just happened to see in the chat. I'm like, we haven't had Nick on in a while.
I wasn't in the chat.
You were totally in the chat. You were the first person I think to be in the chat. You want me to screenshot this shit? Because I will. It says Nick August's Liquor Cabinet Fan Club. Ads are for chumps. The first person to actually complain.
That's not me. Chat. That's not me.
That's not you?
Nope.
That's one of Nick's fans.
I don't know who that is.
That's one of his socks.
Or
somebody's socks.
Liquor.
Yeah.
Nick August Liquor Cabinet
Liquor Cabinet Fan Club.
I thought that was you. Okay. Well, if you're out, there you go. Now the show starts. Well, we should get you, Nick August Liquor Cabinet Fan Club, on here, whoever you are.
Dump Nick and get his sock.
Let's just get your sock puppet in here.
Whoever that is would probably be a better guest than me.
Well, I don't know about that.
I'm just surprised to see you out of a swimming pool. Are you actually back home, or are you?
Yeah,
in Florida.
Well, my girl who moved to Florida, we're
kind of on the outs.
Yeah, we hit Splitsville for a while, so I'm.
She'll be back.
I'm back in the.
You're back in the market.
Well, I'm back in the Bat Cave.
You're back in the Bat Cave. Okay, this is a new view. I don't think I've ever seen this view of what's behind you.
Yeah,
I'm in
usually you're outside, or it's a green screen or something.
Yeah, I'm in my den. I record music in here. I've been recording music all day.
Oh, okay, cool.
I just took a Twitter break and saw, that you were desperate for somebody, so I came on to, just see what's going on.
Don't be a smartass, Nick August Liquor Cabinet Fan Club. Don't be a smartass. We don't need that shit.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
I don't know. The smartass.
well, notice they're not a fan of me. They're a fan of my liquor cabinet.
They're a fan of your fucking liquor cabinet, not you. Yeah.
Which I don't blame them. It's a good.
Yeah, that's just priorities.
Stocked well over there, so.
Maybe it's Cappy.
I doubt. I actually invited him, but he's out and about with his girl. A lot of people give Aaron shit because they've never seen his girlfriend. I haven't met her, but I've seen photos, very candid photos. I've also talked to her on the phone. and she's made me cookies. So that's right. Aaron's wife has made me cookies. None of you can say that, not on the panel, but none of you fuckers listening and in the chat can say that. So there you go.
Maybe they'll have their wives make you cookies.
Yeah.
If you have another man's wife make you cookies, you're doing something right.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Exactly.
To answer Geeky's question, I don't know if there's an exclusive game, but I think certain things like Cyberpunk had a Vegas supplement, and
so did
Vampire the Masquerade,
Shadowrun as well. I think, yeah.
Vampire the Masquerade. I think there's a Las Vegas by night module or supplement to the game. I've only got I've got both the first and second edition Chicago by Nights, because they're actually different storylines, because they take place at different times in the story continuity. And then I've got a Milwaukee by Night, and that's just because they were as close to Indianapolis as the game was as far as supplements and stuff goes. So
yeah,
back when I was hanging out with gothy girls.
Goth girls are the best.
They can be fun. If you train them right.
Not can be. They are.
Well, some can also be Amber Heard with knives. So it's.
Well, I wouldn't classify her as a goth chick, though.
No, but I'm saying personality.
I know you're talking about that. The psychology behind it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they're all fun until they shit in your bed.
Yeah,
that's true. Would you be interested in trying a game that's all about Vegas? Crime, money, drugs, cops, hookers. There's a game by an acquaintance of mine, Todd Foley. Did a sort of a crime lord, drug cartel related role-playing game using a system he came up called Core, which can be translated across genres and has been. Like Core Fantasy, like Core Cthulhu, similar, but it uses a different mechanic system. Yeah. I like it. So that's the only one that I know of. But as far as I'm concerned, that's really a lot of that stuff is. I play a game to get away from reality, just for a little bit. I mean, I live in reality. We all do, but that's why we play D&D.
Yeah,
we play a sci-fi game where the whole Vegas crime thing, that's a little too close to, close to reality.
That sounds like a masculine geek gathering in Las Vegas.
Although
that's what that sounds like.
Right?
Crime, money, drugs, and hookers does sound a little bit like the first D&D campaign that we ran.
Yeah,
we had that halfling thieves guild.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And the Bible with the gnome and half ogre hookers and all that.
That's stuff. Right. Forgot about the gnome that Grat was playing with.
Didn't Rob burn that down? I know
Rob set fire to the inn. Yeah.
Yeah, there was the inn.
He was a tiefling. He set fire to the inn.
The thing that would make that game interesting is if it was situated time-wise in like the Rat Pack era of the early 60s.
If it was anywhere between like
Vegas
40 and
early
60,
in
40
the
and
50s
60.
and 60s. Yeah, that would be interesting. That would be
in its heyday.
Fun.
Mm-hmm. Not now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Corporate Vegas, no. Mob Vegas, yeah. Yeah, I would totally have fun doing something like that in the Rat Pack era of the late 50s, early 60s. So
that would be a little different. That would be a good masculine geek meetup, is heading out to Vegas.
Yeah.
What are you drinking, Nick?
I'm drinking Evan Williams. Bottled and Bond, the cheap stuff.
Oh, okay. So you're looking to get drunk quick.
Well, I've been working on music all day. When I do that, I drink a lot, so I just use the cheap stuff.
Gotcha. You like to weep into your.
I like to.
Get in the groove.
I like to not. Drink up a whole bottle of $100 bourbon while I'm fucking around in my den all day. So
that makes sense.
I still have enough sense to save that for special occasions or just one-offs.
Mhm.
Gotcha. That makes sense. What do you? I know you posted that one song, which is pretty badass. What are you working on now? Can you disclose anything?
Well,
Or is it
right
still
now
in
I'm
progress?
I'm remastering that, and I'm doing an opening for the Let 'Em Burn show, at
Okay.
least for when I host. And if Rurb or Bull want to use it, that's really up to them when it's on their channel. But
Mhm.
I'm doing that, and I've got like 5 other things I'm recording that are more kind of like Delta blues and shit. And so I'm kind of fighting with the audio equipment, learning how to use all that shit, and do mixes and cleanups and stuff. So it's kind of a learning curve.
Gotcha. Kiki says, "Is it my imagination, or did Evan Williams rip off the Jack Daniels label?"
It's probably the other way around, but Tennessee whiskey is sketchy. I prefer Kentucky bourbon to Tennessee whiskey. So
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Jack Daniels is not bourbon. A lot of people think it is, and it's close, but it's not.
Okay. It's a knockoff.
Well, Tennessee whiskey is a different thing. Tennessee whiskey is an actual recipe, and like Jack Daniels and George Dickel, that's Tennessee whiskey, and then most of the other stuff about is bourbon. So different shit.
Is it the difference in the quantity of the corn mash or something like that? As far as
Yeah, it's like difference in the recipe. Bourbon has a more strict recipe for it to be able to be called bourbon, and I think Tennessee whiskey is a little bit looser. That's the difference. So
She said.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that's because she's been around the block a time or two, is why she's so loose.
Well, it's that old gray mare. She ain't what she used to be.
Hey, everybody's grandma.
That's right. That T-shirt's pretty funny. I think I want to pick one of those up.
Yep. Sometimes they didn't even need to be sailors. They could just be in the Coast Guard.
That's right.
Well, ultimately, sailors is a metaphor for a dude, but the thing that inspired that was, I don't remember what was going on, but a while back, I was looking at old World War II photos, and there's that famous picture of that sailor and that chick in the middle of Times Square.
Yeah, the kiss. Yeah.
Notice she's not touching him at all
on VE Day or VJ Day or whatever it was, and I sat there and looked at it for a while, and I was like, you know what? There was a lot of that going on.
Someone's grandmother.
Well, there was a lot of that going on. They didn't stop at just kissing in Times Square. Those hotels were full. So there's a
lot of banging.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, there was a lot of banging, hence the baby boom. So
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's their fault that we got all these boomers.
Assholes. Post-war fuckers.
Man, I haven't talked to you guys in a long time.
It has been a long time.
Yeah, you've just been too good for us.
Asshole.
I wouldn't say too good. I would say I've had better things to do.
Dick.
up until now.
Well, we've been in textual contact. I sent you the 6 photos of my book cover.
Yeah, those are awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing that. I just got this last year, I just got addicted to Florida, man. I've been down there, because I had the girl moved down there, and I had a free place to stay
down there. Yeah.
Yeah, so things were going good until they weren't. So I spent most of my time, and my kids down there too. So
that's right. That's right. How's he doing?
Yeah, he's doing well. He just bought a boat.
No, nice.
24-foot center console. So I'm trying to get back down there so I can go fishing.
Oh, that's cool.
So.
There's rumors we may be down there going fishing in October.
Yeah, we're setting up a potential American Tabletop Gamer Society first convention down in Miami in October. Yeah, keep you posted on that.
I won't have to block time off.
Please do, because both you and Rollo, I want you guys running games for us as we're all around the table.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there'll be like a 5-day weekend, like a Wednesday through a Sunday. Yeah. So that is the tentative.
Are we leaning toward early mid? Still,
My schedule's pretty open. I can take it like a general consensus and say not what works, but what does not work for it. That's usually the best question to answer. Like ask us what doesn't work for everyone. So Robert,
October
what does
22nd does not work for me. My youngest has a birthday then, and I'd rather not miss it.
All right, so looking at that
earlier in the month, my brother and his family usually come down around the end of October every year to hang out. And
all right,
do the
so
theme
that's
parks.
the case. Let's tentatively plan for the 5th through the 9th.
Okay.
I'll get an email thread going with the D&D group plus Nick.
I hate Miami.
It's
that also is penciled in. It could be another location in Florida, but the first one's going to be in Florida.
This could do Orlando.
We could do Orlando.
I hate Orlando too.
Son of a bitch!
You're not. Well, you're not gonna.
Just shut up. You're not. You're part of
Orlando
this.
is safer than.
You're not going to plan. You're not going to plan this.
I'm not planning this around
so.
you. You son of a bitch.
Because you need to do like Palatka or somewhere like that.
What the fuck is like in the middle of the goddamn fucking Everglades?
Palatka, not the Everglades. It's a little bit northeast central Florida.
We need to meet close to, I guess, either the Gulf or the ocean side, not in the middle of the state.
No, I hear you.
Bradenton,
Right.
Petersburg.
That's fine. Where we could fly into, get there easily, and then charter a fishing boat for one of the days.
Yeah.
So
you could always go high end and do Naples or Siesta Key or something.
I have no problem with that.
Well,
either,
I think there was some reason.
It's a little pricey.
It had to do with Rollo that Miami got brought up. It was something. He's either going to be down there for something or.
Oh yeah, that's right. I think he mentioned that because he knows a lot of places there that are safe. That would be good for a small convention style meetup and also to go fishing. So I mean, we'll see. And this is all conjecture at the moment and just like tentative planning.
Mm-hmm.
But the first Wednesday through Sunday in October is fine with me. I have a fairly open schedule.
We have that other Florida trip we still have to make good on, which I realize
We do, you son of a bitch. You were supposed to be playing this show. I'm waiting. I'm like,
it'll be out right after the next issue of Punch Drive.
I've got places. I've got places.
All right, whenever you're, just let me know. I want to set aside time and money for it.
Yeah.
It'll also be another fishing and debauchery trip, but that's all we're saying.
Yeah, that's gonna be another level.
That's gonna be some serious shit. That one.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm also planning a South America trip for next year. So,
whoa.
Yeah.
Where to?
Not sure.
Cartagena.
I know, right? No, not in Mexico. We're gonna be having My Latin Life. He's on Twitter. He's the guy he's the digital nomad dude that is always like, hey, you should get the second passport and should thinking about living in South America. It's great. It's it's just a lot of places are tax free and a lot of other good pros to it. Other than
Cartagena is supposed to be Cartagena's Colombia, I think.
Medellin, Cartagena. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I've heard
I would not
things
mind
about Panama and Belize.
Belize, Paraguay, different places in Colombia. So we're going to be talking to him, and I do want to talk to him about locations down there. So I'm going to take a little bit of leave from work and go down there for 2 or 3 weeks, do some reconnaissance. Yeah,
that'd be nice.
Yeah. So,
I actually know guys who are agents in the federal government who are looking about going there. That's if you're curious how the state of things in our country right now, even military guys in the federal government.
They're going to go down to
thinking
Mexico.
about-
They're like emigrating to Mexico, and people are crossing the border to come over here. We're gonna flip flop in the next 50 years.
So
the United States is going to be in South America, and South America is going to be in the United States.
Somebody's talking about Destin in the chat. You know, Destin. I used to love Destin. I loved Destin 40 years ago, but Destin. But it's gotten to you know. I mean, I like open spaces. I don't like being pinned in. I don't like a lot of crowds. So Destin's just gotten. It's a great place if you like resorts and you don't mind being packed in with a lot of people. But it's gotten to be kind of. I haven't been there in a long time. I stay on the Alabama coast, or I go farther down toward Apalachicola, where the crowds are sparse and you know,
and the women are loose.
Women are loose. Fishing isn't better, but it's easier down there because there are less people.
So the fishing and the women are both easier. That's what your target goal is.
Well, the fishing is easier.
It's easy to roll natural 20s.
All I can say about the women is there are less of them there, so you're dealing with that.
Okay.
If you're going to Florida for the women, you know, fucking A, go to Fort Lauderdale and Miami. If you're just
go where the tourists are.
If you're just going for that, because I was down there, I spent 2 weeks in Fort Lauderdale before I came back here, and I mean, if I were a young guy and all I wanted to do was, you know, run around and hit it and quit it, I don't see why anybody wouldn't spend a little time in Fort Lauderdale, Miami, because the women there are just everywhere, and they're, you know, there's plenty of hot chicks down there.
Mm-hmm.
They have a decent airport too to fly into.
Yeah, so
cool.
The only thing I like about Miami is flying in there and getting a car so I can drive to the Keys. That's about it.
Yeah. That's another location we can think about too.
I'm too much of a redneck to enjoy cities too much. I enjoy them for a couple of days, then I'm ready to get the fuck out.
Yeah, right. All right, I got nothing.
Yeah, I was just
scanning the questions.
I got nothing. I wanted to keep this.
psyched.
I wanted to keep this about an hour anyway. I didn't want to go too long.
I was really looking forward to finding out what Bent and
whether he's going to steal that gem or not.
Yeah.
I mean, he'd already been warned.
You know he's going to.
I'm pretty certain that Bent is going to attempt to steal the gem, and now I know Bolvi is. I shouldn't say I know, but I suspect that Rollo
he'll kick his ass.
is going to be keeping an eye on him. And of course, Bjorn, being a cleric, is probably not cool with that either. Even though he's cleric of Thor. Oh, you're muted, Nick. I couldn't hear anything Nick was saying.
I'm not.
Or sorry, no, Rob. I couldn't hear anything Rob was saying. I'm getting everybody confused now.
My mic went to mute because it came unplugged. I replugged it in, but for some reason it muted on the program. So, yeah, I had already warned Bent once not to mess with it. But as a good cleric of Thor, there's no way I'm going to allow any deity within the pantheon to be, you know, transgressed or have his his sacred relics or holy items defiled in any way. So I mean, that's not going to happen. And then in Bovi's case, not only is he a lawful good paladin, but Odin is his patron deity. So you know, that's to whom he prays. So there's no way I can imagine Rollo in character allowing that to happen. So, you know.
There's a famous gold is gold. It is a.
Is that Bent Cappy? 20 gold pieces, 20 gold piece.
It is right. A gem the size of a fist.
Yeah, he likes anything with a fist, apparently.
Yeah, and if anyone likes fisted, it's Bent. So.
Uh-oh. Yeah, how is he going to hide that?
Up his hoo-ha.
Isn't it getting crowded in there?
Probably.
Well,
Hey, Bubba.
isn't everything else in the bag of holding? Although
I have a lot of stuff in the bag of holding.
There's a lot, but
no, I haven't put the new stuff in there yet. So
no.
I have to go through that. Plus, I'm taking that Ring of Protection +3.
Which is probably about the only thing my character can use, because I can't do anything with any of the magic swords or stuff. So, magic armor, rings, amulets, stuff like that. That's about the only thing my character can use. But unfortunately, the dice rolls just weren't with us for me.
Yeah.
Well, there's a
I need the +3 is going to help my armor class because I have a shit armor class.
Oh yeah, well, mage. I mean, I just can't.
I've got
can't
like
be helped.
8. I think I have like 8.
Yeah, your armor class is higher than your hit points. That's
my hit points
the
are
magic
16.
user life.
My hit points are 16.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
he might live.
Yeah,
I might live. Yeah, with it, that'll knock it off. That'll bring me down to 5.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
But did everybody level? I shouldn't say we don't have everybody here, but did you guys level up yet?
No, I wasn't sure how you were going to have us do that. So
we're going to work on that this weekend.
If we're running the campaign in an episodic fashion, normally for you to be able to count the gold as experience, you have to secure it so that you now have it.
And
it is your gold, which would normally mean getting it on a boat and getting it back to civilization and getting it into some storage that is secure, and then paying to train and spending all the time leveling up. But
or making ties in my case as a cleric and stuff. So yeah.
But since we are not running it rules as written, and we're hand waving it because of the online episodic format, I'm gonna hand wave it for this, because if we were running, here's the thing: if we were running a D&D campaign just to play and weren't also doing it for the viewers, then we'd be playing probably weekly, maybe more frequently than that, and it would be practical for us to do one-to-one time. It would make sense to have the paying and spending time training, but also you guys would have different PCs that you would be able to use depending on where in the world the adventure was taking place and which one of your other PCs was busy training and stuff. But if we did that, then the people watching would be completely lost if they were not watching every single thing.
Because they're already lost anyway.
Yeah. I think I'm the only one with like 2 characters for this campaign, because I had originally rolled up a fighter until we decided that we needed a cleric, in which case I rolled up Bjorn to be a cleric. So I've got the fighter character and Bjorn, so I basically made them brothers. So right now I'm the only one that has that second character to switch over to if I actually needed to.
Yeah, and we still have, I think, 6 or 7 of those slaves that were on the boat alive, including Valerian. So that would be actually Bjorn's brother was one of the original group, and he was still with Bolvi.
Yeah,
when Bolvi came back when the group was reunited, so he's still there. So that's always an option. Worst comes to worst, if we have a party half dead or completely dead, we just if there's anybody left alive of the sailors, you guys can take those over, or we just start with another group.
Yeah.
But
it would be nice to play leaving the island at some point, because it'd be nice to
to
do that.
So this is a good size island. You don't know how big it is exactly, but you have a map, and judging by the map that you used to get there to begin with, you can estimate, assuming that it's relatively accurate, that it's probably a good 30 by 20, 30 miles or so. So it's not a massive island, but it's not a tiny island either. It's it's a good sized chunk of land there. And so you're not the only ones that have found their way to this island. there will be, or I shouldn't say there will, I shouldn't say anything as the DM, but it is unlikely that you would not find something. Plus, you have gold, and there are merfolk who might be willing to, they might know something. I don't know how you get in touch with them, but of course you killed some of them and you hacked a bunch of tentacles off their giant octopus. So they might be not be too happy. But that's always an option. I've got this map, and I've got a few points of interest, and then I've got a bunch of ideas for other interesting places that I'm just going to throw in there based on where you guys are going. But pretty much every time that we're running the sessions, I'm just like, all right, I'm going to see what they do, where they go, and we'll just pull stuff from this list of ideas and from this map as you do. So there is literally no story. It's just whatever you guys decide you're going to do determines what's happening. If there's shit going on the island, you can engage with it or not. You can say, fuck it, we're going to take this treasure and go back and then find other shit to do on the mainland. Or you could figure out what the hell's going on here. And then maybe you decide that you want to get involved and team up with these people, form an alliance, or who knows what.
Check out that Wizard's Tower.
There is that tower that you saw off in the distance. So I think
that might be a destination after we get out of this fucking crypt. We still have to get out of the crypt. The fucking greased fucking hatchway.
Yeah. Although, do you want to leave that open with all that treasure in there? Because that's a lot of fucking treasure.
Well, I'll probably have to close it back up. I'll take as much as I can in the bag, but then we may find more stuff along the way. So we really have to be judicious about this and think. So probably leave about half of what's in the crypt there, with maybe some guards. Maybe I have a spell I could leave, or we'll just seal up Bint in the crypt to watch over it.
That would be a Viking thing to do.
It would. It's like, all right, well, you're going to take this this jewel from Odin's statue. You're going to stay here. Stop it. You're going to stay here. And Jesus Christ, what the fuck's going on down there in fucking Alabama?
Or perhaps it's cursed, and if Bint steals it, as soon as you're out of the crypt, the giant raven will swoop down and pick him up and fly away with him.
I'm strangely okay with that. That's fine with me.
Although, you still have that dwarf or whatever it is that was out there that was stealing your shit, and that
that goblin thing.
Yeah, somebody out there is trying to take your treasure.
That fucker. Your laptop ran out of power, huh?
Uh-oh.
Just again, we're gonna end it here anyway. I'm gonna keep
let's
this
sign
around
off
an hour
now.
or
That
so.
way when
We're gonna sign. They comes back. Like, where the fuck are you guys? Hang on, he's back. We're getting ready to sign off, you son of a bitch. What are you doing over there?
I'm on my phone now.
Oh, you're on your phone. It actually sounds a lot fucking better and clear.
Yeah,
you should just do everything. You should do everything on your phone.
Did your battery die?
Yeah.
Yeah, I accidentally unplugged my laptop, so
That's a fantastic shot of that crest of hair on your fucking head.
Yeah.
It's like what's that movie? Something About Mary.
Right? That's not.
It reminds me of Bert from Sesame Street. That's what I
think it's what Bullrush or somebody was saying.
Yeah. Well, he would know. Bulrush is his earnings. So.
Well, Bulrush is over there eating crowns usually, so you can't really trust anything coming out of his mouth.
Yeah, I'm surprised he's not here harassing us tonight.
Bent has a brother, Lint.
That's up there with Grat's brother, Grint.
So if Bent dies, then we can, if the whole team does, we can pick up with Grint and Lint.
There you go.
Over on the mainland.
That's right.
Maybe find them in an English pub or something. Although, would it be England? Was there in England an 800 something, or was it
there was? I think it was sort of. There's like what was that was the Saxons or some shit.
Mm-hmm.
I need to go back and read
Well,
up on
there
this.
was Wessex and Northumbria and so forth. So I actually had my character coming from Jorvik, which is York. So
When did they start calling it? Wasn't it like Albion or something at some point before that?
Something like
Roman
that.
times, if I remember correctly.
Well, I think it was there was Avalon, but I don't know if that's the same thing. But I mean, they called it
Albion is an alternative name for Great Britain.
Britain,
Oldest
Rome.
attestation of the toponym names comes from the Greek language, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So at some point it was, I don't know. I should probably brush up
research that. Yeah.
Early medieval.
Because the Saxons were conquerors of the Celts, and then the Danes, which came later, were
fucking Jack Napier.
Were later Saxons, basically, but from the old country. And then eventually England gets invaded by the Normans, who were also Vikings who had settled in France. So yeah, it's all.
But the history here is being an alternate Earth is very different.
Right.
In that the Norse would have spread and dominated more, and all of
I'm getting seasick. What the fuck are you doing over there, Nick?
The Middle East and the Mediterranean is basically a huge wasteland.
Yeah. His camera work has been better when he's drunk in a pool. That's the sad part.
He's got to get a tripod.
Right.
Look, if you guys,
he doesn't have any girls in the house, so that's going to be difficult.
If you can improve the historical accuracy of your, shit about Britain, then I'll tune into Dungeons and Dragons every week.
Well, you're the one over there talking about Avalon and shit, you son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Well, King Arthur is closer to Dungeons and Dragons than whatever.
Well, King Arthur was a fucking French myth anyway. So
yeah,
true.
Well, this is the nice thing about having it be an alternate reality is that I don't have to remember any of the dates.
You have to remember jack shit.
Because I can just say no, because in this particular world, in this universe, that didn't happen.
Well, and you don't even have to do that. It just roll the dice and see what the random encounter chart says. It's even less work.
Exactly.
So
pretty much
depends on what you put into your random charts. Yeah. So all right, we're gonna call it. I want to keep this. I'm fucking tired, and I want to keep this a short one. So all right, everyone, thanks for joining us. It's been an interesting chat as always.
When's your next book show, Vince?
My what? With who?
The book show. The Thursday night.
Oh, the Books and Broads?
Yeah.
That's on Tuesdays.
Okay.
That's usually a Tuesday, either the first or the last of the month. The next one with Rob and I will be on the 28th.
Okay.
Assuming Rob is sober.
Rob, I've already touched base with Rob. He is, yes. I cannot vouch, and I cannot.
He's got to schedule his sobriety. You gotta schedule your sober nights with Rob.
Exactly. I'm assuming he'll be sober, but he will be there for it. That book that we're going to be reviewing and talking about, and basically laughing because it's fucking funny as hell, is called Drink, Play, Fuck. Okay. Now, this book was gifted to me by a woman I was dating at the time in 2010. The book came out in 2009. Mm-hmm. It is the literal answer to the book Eat, Pray, Love. It's told from the husband's point of view. Mm-hmm. Now, a little interesting side note about that is the woman that wrote, I forget her name. I don't really care. So don't even hit me in the chat. I don't fucking give a shit. But her and her newer husband, the one that she left this guy for, mm-hmm. She and he came up with a business called Two Buttons. Mm-hmm. And they bought things from China, Japan, Indonesia, imports and exports, and brought mm-hmm. them over here while they opened their business up in Frenchtown here in New Jersey. And I was there several times to pick up a few things. I'm like, oh, this is actually kind of cool. It's got some good stuff for collecting purposes and whatnot. Like archaeological finds and whatnot you could buy there and what shit like that. But it was interesting because there was the French town is cool to visit, an old historic town, and there was good places to eat and whatnot. So it was interesting to actually go there and see that thing. Like, oh, okay, this is where that bitch had her business. But that the drink, play, fuck is a actual retort to Eat, Pray, Love, and it's funny as fuck. It's a really good book, so I suggest you pick it up and read that.
Awesome. I will have to add that to my to read. Actually, just got this in the mail. That I think Rollo mentioned this.
He did, yeah.
Last time he said something about it. I thought, you know what this is what I do. I write for a living, so I do read, or part of what I do is writing for a living. But I do read a lot about writing. It sounded interesting, so I have to add it to the to read pile after this one.
I'll send you the information on it.
Cool.
So, all right, so that'll be on Tuesday, this upcoming Tuesday, and then we've got Drew's adventure, his campaign, resuming on Wednesday. Got some good stuff for coming up for July, not the least of which is the live painting with Robert and Rollo and I, the live D&D mini. So I'm going to finish my owlbear. I've got the base coat on him.
Nice.
Yeah. And you've got your little Star Trek spaceship. Cool. So I got to get detail, and I got to do a wash and do some highlighting. Bring out the details on that, and that'll be fun. So anyway, all right, everyone. Oh, yeah, there you go. Yeah, you're doing 3 at a time. Cool.
Yeah.
All right, once again, it's a pleasure, as always, to see you gentlemen. Thanks for joining us, Nick, at last minute. Always a pleasure to see and talk to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Turn that join us for a game sometime. You can play as Bint's brother Lint.
Yeah.
You don't want me in a game, trust me.
That's probably true.
I'll just get bored and start fucking with everybody, and then you'll have to toss me out.
We'll just have to. Drew will have to kill you right quick.
So it'll be like Cappy in the game.
It pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
He played even before Masculine Geek was in effect. He used to play I guess in a way I still do. Part ownership of it. Legends of Tabletop ran online D&D games, and because I've known Aaron since. All right, let's see. My Dennis Malone is. I joined March 2014. Shortly thereafter, Aaron started following me. I'm like, who's this asshole?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh, he's motorcycles and archaeology and tornado chasing economist. I'm like, that's kind of cool. And I checked out his stuff. I'm like, I'll follow him back. But we've been friends ever since.
Right.
So he had been playing with the online games for a while. So
isn't he the reason you got kicked off Twitter though?
I don't think so, unless he's the one that reported me.
I think he is. I think he went Anthony Johnson on you.
He probably did, that fucking dickhead. And also my my Instagram. I got bounced off my Instagram.
Oh shit! Really?
Yeah, Masculine Geek Instagram is done.
Oh, that explains why I was looking for it the other day. Couldn't find it. I thought
censorship is getting nuts.
It's really insane. They're actually some people I follow. They run the pulp like the old pulp art covers.
Mm-hmm.
And I forget the one guy. It's like 80s pulp. Like he does something 80s or something art, pulp horror art. And he keeps showing these screenshots. It's like I'm getting these nudity dings on pulp art from the 50s and 60s and 70s. Like, this is ridiculous. So go ahead and follow my alternative account just in case.
Mm-hmm.
But my Dennis Malone, I never really gave a shit about social media at all. I started social media in between 2012 and 14 because I was doing voice narration work for the Lovecraft E-Zine. And I was doing online Call of Cthulhu games. And Mike Davis runs the Lovecraft Easy. He's like, Vince, we keep in contact with Facebook. I'm like, oh fuck. So under duress, I haven't used it in years, but I have a Facebook account, Dennis Malone, and I went from there. And I hopped on Twitter. I'm like, this is kind of cool, and never really got too heavily into it until Masculine Geek. And even now, I'm just like, I just don't. I care and I don't.
It's easy to get sucked into.
Absolutely. I have part of me I have a little bit of an addictive personality, and I find myself just scrolling through shit and posting stuff. I'm like, you know what? When I think about it, meditate on it, I really don't care. So the Masculine Geek Twitter being banned for me saying trans equals mental illness. I mean, I told the truth. But somebody got butthurt over that. I mean, What a shocker! I could have appealed it. I just don't even care.
I wonder though, because it could be that somebody was legitimately offended, but I
don't care.
Would not be even. Yeah, I don't give a shit if people.
I just don't care.
But I suspect that there are people who aren't offended by it, but who Rollo has some just mentally disturbed. I mean, seriously, mentally disturbed people that have it out for him, and would also, just because they're just really fucked in the head, would do this to anybody that associates with him just out of spite. So
he was mentioning something to that effect on the last live painting stream.
There are, and it's absolutely fucking. It's pathetic. I don't want to get into the whole thing. The people watching know or they don't know, but the people are just completely fucked in the head.
Well, it was also funny. We were talking with him about his clips channel and stuff, and about people having the attention span of a gnat
of a lima bean
and stuff like that. And then the very next day on Twitter, someone was commenting to him about something taking too long or whatever, and it's like, wow. Hadn't even gone, it's like 12 hours later, what we were just talking about on the show, some idiot on Twitter proves to be true. So there you go.
But so it might have been that, but it's fuck. I'm using Twitter, I'm using Facebook primarily because I want to market my books, I want to market my online training and all that stuff. But I probably spend more time on Twitter talking with people about D&D and on Facebook with D&D than I do about exercise. And then I get into stupid bullshit conversations like trying to explain to some dumb fucking assholes why the Electoral College is a good thing. What the fuck does that have to do with promoting my business? I don't make any money talking with people about that shit.
It's a waste of time.
Yeah.
I need to just
I'm talking to Japanese guys about Transformers, so that's what I'm doing.
There you go. That's what we're all about here.
Am I having fun? Am I making money? If the answer to either of those is no, I shouldn't even bother with the conversation.
That's what I always thought. Like Twitter to me, Twitter's a goof. It's a lark. It's whatever. So I didn't really get too disappointed with the Masculine Geek. Oh, there you go. What's that? Is that you?
It's a dwarf figure from the Mythic Legions lines that I customized. So
nice,
cool.
It was all so I took parts from other figures and it was all solid black, and then I customized it with the silver and the metallic blue and stuff.
Oh, nice.
Need to get yourself a resin printer and some 3D software, and then you'll be able to do whatever the fuck you want.
I'm still waiting for my Grat character there, fucking Drew. I sent you the template from Hero Forge
I think I ended
2 years ago.
I wonder if I've got the resin printer somewhere.
Oh, you bastard.
I've got the resin printer still in the garage. I have not done shit with any of the 3D printers for a while. So hopefully the tray is not just completely fine. I might just get completely new resin printer and wash and cure station, because I would like to start making them. I want to start running a game here locally. I'm going to be doing going up to Wisconsin in some later next month. I'm going to be running a game for the family up there, and I'd love to be able to bring some minis for that. So I might do that. Just because that thing.
You driving or flying, Drew?
Oh, flying.
Okay.
I'd like to drive, but I can't take that much time off work. I mean, I could take that time. I could probably take the rest of the year off and be fine. But it would be insane to do that right now, not knowing.
And then playing catch up.
Yeah, and playing catch up. I would rather just keep
chugging along.
On the plus side, if shit gets bad, I'm not stressing over it. But I'm still thinking, I'm still in that mentality that if I am not adding more to it, then it's like, I actually get anxious if I don't work for more than a few days.
You don't need that hanging over your head.
No. Unless I finish a book. Then anytime I finish writing a book, I will take 2 weeks and work half time just to kind of say, okay, I'm done with the writing, so I'm going to take some time. But that's about as much as I'll give myself. Kind of also as a reward for actually getting a book written. But otherwise, I actually get anxious if I go for more than a few days without doing some kind of work. I don't think I'll ever be able to retire, not because I couldn't retire, but because the fuck am I going to do? I mean, I could just run D&D games, but anyway, so just like jumping from one topic to another. Yeah, I got another resin printer, and I'll just print some up. I'd like to start getting my monster menagerie built up too for running things at the table.
Well, if we're going to be down in Florida in October, and you're running a game one night, you need to get your shit together.
Definitely.
Literally.
On you, Drew.
Yeah, you have to do this, Drew. You got to do this. You got to get your shit together.
We'll have to talk more about what the format's going to be for that. If it's going to be a big one shot or a continuation of what we're doing, or
that's a good question. Whatever is easier. I mean, we can do a continuation because it'd be kind of cool to continue the game around the table.
Are people going to be able to see and
correct?
Watch?
We'll do a mask. We're going to do I'll have the webcam set up, probably multiple webcams and shit. I'll bring equipment with me.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's been a good show, guys.
Yes, indeed. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us. All 11 of you that are here now. Appreciate it. Everyone who's watching or maybe watching and listening later, appreciate you as well. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe, hit that bell and all that shit. Make sure you head over to Masculine Geek Life and sign up for the newsletter. That link is also in the new Masculine Geek Twitter profile as well. Get on that just in case we need to get in touch with you and our social media gets shut down because you never know. All right, everyone. Until next Tuesday, enjoy your weekends. And we're going to sign off for now.